It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, Gautam Gambhir addressed the Indian media in his first press conference since becoming the head coach of the national cricket team. We got to see a glimpse of what to expect. I'll decode all that Gambhir said during the heated presser. He answered all the pertinent questions around the team, the selections and his feud with Virat Kohli. The special coverage of the Paris Olympics begins today here on Firstpost. We bring you our pick of the Indian athletes who are likely to come home with a medal. Can India better the medal count and get into double-digit tally this edition? We'll tell you more on that in a bit. And over in Formula One, it has been a dramatic race weekend. Max Verstappen collides with Lewis Hamilton, abuses his team and then apologizes for his childish behavior. The contrasting team dynamics in Red Bull and McLaren coming up. But first, a look at the headlines in Sports 360. Starting with cricket, England beat West Indies by 241 runs in the second test of the three-match series. Chasing 385 to win, West Indies were bundled out for 143. England's Shoaib Bashir claimed 5 wickets for 41 runs in the fourth innings. With the win, England have clinched the three-match test series 2-0. The International Cricket Council, or the ICC, has put the US Cricket Board on notice. The ICC feels that the Cricket Board does not have a proper administration structure in place, one that is not in compliance with the ICC membership criteria. USA have 12 months to rectify this issue, failing which ICC holds the right to suspend the board. Over in tennis, 22-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal loses to Nuno Borges in the Swedish Open final. Borges beat Nadal 6-3, 6-2 to win the title. This was Nadal's first ATP Tour final. In fact, after the event, he almost hinted that he may not be even ready for the Olympics. Over in football, Manolo Marquez has been named the head coach of the Indian national team. This was announced by the All India Football Federation. He currently coaches the Indian Super League franchise FC Goa. Marquez will continue as coach of Goa and India until his contract with the club runs out in 2025. And in Olympics, Israeli athletes have received death threats. The International Olympic Committee, or the IOC, says measures are being undertaken to address the issue. The calls and messages said that once the athletes arrive in Paris, they will be killed. Just like at the Munich Olympics of 1972, Israel's Olympic Committee is on high alert following the threats. Gautam Gambhir addressed the media in his first press conference as the coach of the Indian national cricket team. He was his usual self, grim, explanatory, stated his purpose and gave very sharp responses to all that had happened preceding this. Gambhir, of course, came meaning business and spoke his mind, and that pretty much stayed throughout the press conference. Now, I want to try and decode what he said and what he intended to say via his presser. The biggest talking point, of course, was around the captaincy. Yes, it was not a decision that was taken overnight. And in fact, there were a lot of discussions pertaining to this. From the responses of both Gambhir and the chairman of selectors, Ajit Agarkar, a sense that they just felt Surya Kumar Yadav would be a better horse to bet on in this race. There is not much history to judge who would be a better captain as far as skills were concerned or strategizing talent was concerned. Both have not really taken charge for a very long period of time in their respective state sides or the IPL franchises. So it was more about who to bet on post the Rohit Sharma era. Now, that's what they went by. The other big highlight of the last few weeks, of course, has been all the reports of Gautam Gambhir and the BCCI having disagreements regarding certain decisions, of course, captaincy being one of them. Gambhir did not outright deny any of that, but pointed out what really mattered more.
I have had a fabulous relationship with Jai Shah. All these speculations about different things, we were on different pages. We can do a better job clarifying those things rather than putting it in the press. Gautam Gambhir is not important. The betterment of Indian cricket is important. I have really enjoyed working with him. I hope it continues that way.
He clearly spells it out here. It is always better to thrash it out and clarify, have clear discussions up front rather than beating around the bush or agreeing now and then, of course, facing the consequences of half-hearted decisions. That's bound to impact the team and its way forward. This response made one thing clear. What you see is what you get. He will talk the talk and may not toe the line all the time, especially when he felt strongly about some things, like the appointment of the coaching staff. He said that some of the core would continue, but he has got his way and he thanked the BCCI for the same. Some of the people that he worked with, particularly in the Kolkata Knight Riders setup at the IPL, have come on board the national side, like Abhishek Nair and Ryan ten Dishkate, who would be assistant coaches. He feels they are special and they will be key in maintaining a happy dressing room, which is what he resorted to again this time.
I have always said, a happy dressing room is a winning dressing room. That's my responsibility. For me, I don't complicate too many things. I am taking over a very, very successful team. T20 World Champions, runner-up in the World Test Championship and 50-over World Cup. There are issues to fill, but this is a champions team.
He even spoke about the kind of relationship he wants. He says there must be freedom and he doesn't want to have a relationship of a coach to that of the player, because the best relationship is one that is built on trust. Which leads me to the most spicy bit. One journalist, of course, was cheeky and brave enough to ask about Gambhir's relationship with Virat Kohli. And Gambhir gave his own little spin to that response.
Good for TRP. My relationship is not public. It's a relationship between two mature individuals. On the field, I am sure we have got to be on the same page. I share a very good relationship with him. I have had a lot of chats with him. It's not important what we discussed after my announcement or before my announcement, just because we want headlines. He is a thorough professional. He is a world-class player. Hopefully, we can work together really well.
A relationship that is great for TRPs, he says, but firmly puts the more important aspect clearly out in the open, that there is no relationship for the public. Team India is what matters. One thing is absolutely certain, Gambhir has not tried to act coy or tried to overcompensate in any of his responses or added that extra dose of sugar. He stated things like what they seem to him and what he strongly feels about them. Absolutely point blank and without any frills. About his relationship with Virat Kohli, he is straightforward, says everyone must fight for his or her jersey. So on the field, it's no holds barred. But off it, he says he always has respected Virat Kohli and that they are two mature individuals who are now set with a common goal in front. Now, it's the right kind of words you want to hear, and it's not something meant to please or appease anyone. No smooth talking here. Gigi, Gautam Gambhir, as straight as he could be. And maybe that's what was most refreshing to see. He occasionally prodded Ajit Agarkar sitting beside him to field the question, always addressing him as chairman. There is a certain formality and reverence to his mannerisms. He doesn't mince words, and yet there is a certain line he's trying not to cross. His target is clear. The series against Australia that's coming up later in this year, that's top of his mind for the biggest challenge that India will face, and of course the Champions Trophy next year. The messaging is the work he and his team will do in between these hallmark events. And yes, we are all eagerly waiting to see how this phase of Indian cricket will unfold. There is a certain sense of not knowing what to expect, but also knowing Gambhir, there's a sense of what we can, and that is what is most exciting about this GG phase. The Olympics is less than a week away. The world is gearing up for the mega event in Paris. The big guns, United States, China, Japan, Great Britain, all set to battle it out for the top spot. But there is one more nation that is raring to make this one the best medal haul yet. India's 117-member Paris Olympics contingent is carrying the hopes of 1.4 billion people, from winning just 2 medals at 2016 to 7 medals at the Tokyo Olympics, where India bettered their ranking to 48th from 67th. India is now looking to set a historic benchmark at this edition, and with hopes of bidding to host the 2036 Olympics, this is the perfect stage to show the world that India is a sporting nation on the rise. Close to $56 million have been spent on Indian athletes' preparation for the event. And now India's cricket board, BCCI, has announced a support of over $1 million to India's Olympic Association campaign. After a successful Asian Games last year, where India finished fourth with a historic medal count of 106 medals, Olympics is the next big target. So who are India's top medal contenders? Who are most likely to win medals for India? Which event can they come from, and who will most probably be bringing it home? The biggest medal hopeful, of course, is Neeraj Chopra. India's only gold medal winner from the Tokyo Olympics, Chopra's game has only been progressively impactful with the years. Of course, be it the 2022 Asian Games gold, the Diamond League win the same year, or the World Championship gold medal in 2023 last year, Chopra revels in the big prize. Nothing less than gold will do for him. But his biggest aim has been to cross that 90-meter barrier, something he has not forgotten and is constantly working towards.
चलो वो तो उससे पहले ही कोशिश करेंगे कि भाई ऐसा कुछ होना है तो उससे पहले ही हो जाए 90 मीटर मार्क या जो भी मतलब सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है तो ओलंपिक्स तक तो शायद ना ही रुके अगर लगना है तो उससे पहले भी लग सकती है बाकी अच्छी हो रही है तैयारी बढ़िया है पब्लिश कर देते हैं और मैंने जो मेरे एजेंट हैं स्विट्जरलैंड के हैं वो उनसे बात कर रखी है तो जिस भी कंपटीशन में हमको अच्छा लगेगा उनकी तरफ से पूरी लिस्ट आती है इस साल कौन से कंपटीशन होने वाले हैं अभी के लिए दोहा और टुर्कू जो पावनुर्मी गेम्स है फिनलैंड वाले वो फाइनल हो गए हैं शायद से कुछ दिन बाद थोड़ी और एक आधी लिस्ट आए तो हम उसमें फाइनल करके आप सभी को बता देंगे वरना पब्लिश तो हो ही जाएगा
Neeraj Chopra isn't the only contender from athletics. There is another candidate who knows how to cross hurdles both on and off the field. It is India's Jyoti Yaraji. In the past 2 years, Yaraji's climb to the top has been significant. When she takes to the tracks in Paris, though, Yaraji will become the first Indian woman to participate in 100 meters hurdles at an Olympics event. Yaraji is the Asian athletics champion and Asian Games silver medalist. She missed the direct qualification to the tournament by just 0.1 seconds when she competed at the Monaco Grand Prix earlier this year, but her impressive run saw her qualifying for the event through her world ranking. The athletics events will begin, of course, on the 1st of August.
I don't have experience about the Olympics, how it's going on, but just I am quite confident for that. I hope it will go well and I may manage because I have experience from Asian Championships and Asian Games and World Championships. So from there, I'm taking my plus points over there and whatever the minuses are there, I'm leaving over there only.
Another category that has seen India shine at the Olympics in the past is badminton. This time, it's the doubles pair that is dominating India's medal prospects in the sport. The pair had an impressive 2023, going up to #1 in the world. They enter as the third-ranked pair, which with the French Open and the Thailand Open wins behind them. And ever since the Tokyo Olympics, they also won a World Championships bronze, an Asian Games gold, and an Asian Championships title. So they are quite the team to beat.
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think everybody wants to, it's not just us, every athlete wants to do well at the Olympics, and it's the ultimate goal. But apart from that, we also want to win medals in the tournaments we've not medaled at this year, and be as consistent as we can.
HS Pranoy and PV Sindhu, of course, are also in the mix. They cannot be underestimated either, despite the lack of form and the mixed run they're having right through the games. In fact, Lakshya Sen, though, seems to be a very exciting medal prospect in the singles event. Another medal hopeful, of course, in fact, two coming from boxing. Nikat Zareen is a two-time world champion but will make her Olympic debut at Paris. She is a feisty competitor in the 50 kgs category. In addition to her world championship gold, Zareen has also won gold at the Commonwealth Games and a bronze in the Hangzhou Asian Games last year. But this is, of course, the Olympics, and it won't be easy, even though her path to the semi-final, right up to the semi-final though, seems to be under control. Livlina Borgohain, on the other hand, has a difficult draw. She might face top seed Li Qian in the quarters. That'll be a massive challenge. But Livlina is a fighter too. She won the bronze in Tokyo Olympics and silver at the Asian Games last year. Moving on to the big one now. India's hockey team ended a 40-year-old medal drought when they won bronze at the Tokyo Olympics. The success, of course, was followed by gold at the Asian Games. But recently, the team has seen a bit of dip in form. And add to that, they're placed in a tough group alongside Australia, Belgium and Argentina. But given India's success at the previous edition of the Olympics, hopes will always rest on the men's hockey team. And speaking of carrying expectations, here's the next medal hope. Quite the outside chance, but the Tokyo silver medalist Mirabai Chanu would be eyeing to win her second medal on the biggest stage here at the Olympics. The only concern, of course, is the prolonged injury break that had kept her away of most events over the last year. While the break may make her a not-so-potent threat to her opponents, it also means she is hungry for success on her comeback trail. She missed out on a medal at the Asian Games, so Paris is where there could be redemption for Chanu. Now, while these are some of the top contenders for India at the Paris edition, India have plenty of young talents to watch out for. Be it Antim Pangal in wrestling, who is a two-time under-20 world champion, a success she translated onto the senior level too, winning bronze at the Asian Games, or Aditi Ashok in golf, who painfully finished fourth at the Tokyo Olympics. The youngster has only matured in the past 4 years. And if India wants to finish their medal tally in double digits, the biggest contributors will have to come from shooting, a sport that gave India, in fact, its first individual gold at the Olympics. The same sport bears some responsibility at Paris Games too. Manu Bakar, Sift Kaur Samra and Sarabjot Singh are some of the medal hopes for India when it comes to shooting. But moving on from the youngsters to the seniors, veterans who may want to go out on a high. And I've put down table tennis legend Sharath Kamal here on top of the list, alongside Rohan Bopanna, who's the oldest member of the Indian contingent at the Games. Of course, there is Vinesh Fogart. After a chaotic and troublesome last few years, Vinesh would want to shut her critics up with a stinging response at the Games. And of course, there are many more in that list who could turn things around for India this time around. Now, it's been a very dramatic weekend at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Up until the Saudi Grand Prix, everyone felt Verstappen could have another dominant season. But ever since the Australian Grand Prix, we've had 7 different winners, including Max, of course. The latest is McLaren's Oscar Piastri. Now, given how Piastri and McLaren were performing, that was bound to happen. But the real story wasn't McLaren finishing first and second in Hungary. The biggest talking point, of course, coming out of the race was Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton. Not because he finished third, but because of his collision with Max Verstappen. The battle isn't a verbal one. During the race, Verstappen and Hamilton's cars came into contact. Verstappen's car went into the air before hitting the tracks. This brush with Hamilton not only cost Verstappen a spot on the podium, but he finished 5th. The Red Bull driver was furious and was heard accusing his team on the radio. And the lashing out wasn't just restricted to his teammates. He also blamed Hamilton for the crash.
I went for a move that was on, but in the middle of the braking zone, when I'm committed to the move, he just keeps moving right. If I hadn't turned while braking straight, I would have made contact with him. You cannot do that when someone has committed to the inside.
Many are, of course, divided on the matter. Hamilton's longtime rival, Nico Rosberg, said Verstappen deserved a penalty for this clash. Imagine Rosberg taking Hamilton's side. He probably did not do that even during the time they were together on the same team. It doesn't matter, though, who on the outside felt what, because eventually the authorities didn't find Verstappen guilty and no penalty was imposed on the driver. But the matter didn't end here, because Hamilton had much to say in response too, quite obviously.
I left enough room in the inside, but Max locked up, and he was going a different trajectory to me. I was going towards around the corner, and he came shooting across. It felt like a racing incident, and it's easy to make mistakes like that. And so, I don't feel there should be any hostility. But of course, from his side, there always will be.
It finally feels like this is the Formula One season we were hoping for, because if a season goes on without these two at loggerheads, is it even an F1 season? Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have been at each other's throats for some years now, and this time though the rivalry is intense because Hamilton is making up for all the times he slipped up. With the comeback win at the British Grand Prix and the tumble at the Hungarian Grand Prix, the old Verstappen-Hamilton rivalry is truly back. But the Hamilton-Verstappen feud wasn't the only talking point of the race. Verstappen's verbal altercation with his team sparked even more controversy. Verstappen during the race described the team's strategy as under par, and it was a two-way war of words. One of the Red Bull engineers, Gian Piero Lambiase, at one point called his driver childish. This after Verstappen argued his case following the Hamilton collision. And that was the kind of hostility in the Red Bull team right after the race. Sure, Hamilton's collision did not go down too well, understandably, and this conversation between the team and the driver only showed the chaos that was raging on in the Red Bull team. And how ironical to watch this play out, as contrastingly, McLaren was setting an example of the most cordial, selfless team dynamics on the track. Lando Norris was in the lead and it was the final lap of the race, but McLaren insisted that Norris let Oscar Piastri win. While Norris was hesitant at first, he respected the team's decision and let Piastri overtake and win the race. Now, this way, the Australian driver won his first Grand Prix, and McLaren aims for the Constructors' Championship now. Now, such an incident only brings the disagreements in Red Bull between the team and its driver into sharper focus. And this is not the first time we're seeing discord in the Red Bull side out in the open. Just some weeks ago, the team principal Christian Horner saga almost tore the team apart, threatened to derail their fortunes and their campaign this year. After Horner was accused of misconduct by a female employee, Verstappen's father, Jos, even claimed Horner will burn down Red Bull. But Verstappen continued his support towards the team principal and kept the peace. That peace, of course, has lasted till Verstappen was winning. This race and the collision has split the team wide open, and maybe this is just the start of this disharmony to continue, because the season has only reached its halfway mark. 13 of 24 races have been done. Hamilton is getting back on podiums. Verstappen and Hamilton back to behaving like arch rivals, as the results are showing. And Ferrari and McLaren are giving Red Bull a hard time. So safe to say that it's business as usual now, and the season has finally caught fire. And the Hungarian Grand Prix seems to have lit up that spark. Time for last serve. Argentina may be in the thick of a massive controversy where some of their players are under the scanner over a racist chant post the Copa America win. But Lionel Messi is still at the core of the win and still the cynosure of all eyes. The Miami club organized a special ceremony to commemorate Messi's 45th trophy win. That wraps it up here on First Sports. Do take care. I'll see you again tomorrow.